Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ironis Insights. I got another guest here, Colin McCarthy, the principal architect at Promevo. Thank you for joining us, Colin.
Hi, Alex. Good to be here. Good to
Where are
talk to
you
everybody today.
where are you calling from today?
So I am calling in from Western Maine, but I do not have a Western Maine accent. Obviously, originally from the UK, just south of London. Moved over to the US in 2012. Spent 13-ish years working in New York City, living in North New Jersey, and now with remote work, moved up to close to the Canadian border up here, and it's just getting spring. It's this is being released in May, but we're only just having spring coming and visiting us.
Yeah, I mean, and we're here in New York, and I don't know, it's been pretty cold every couple of days so far. So we're getting teased with it as well. Yeah, I'm sure you get it a little bit later.
Yep, yeah.
So you have a really interesting background. I know we probably have a lot to cover today, but why don't you give me a little bit about, how you got into this career path, first of all.
So I started in probably what a lot of older school people would say is the best time to get in, which was the late 1990s.
Yeah.
But I started doing telephone support for CompuServe. Uh, After leaving school and college, was had a Saturday job at a supermarket and learned a lot about customer service and was able to use that to get into the telephone support industry. There was a lot of help desks in the late 90s because everybody was on dial-up. There was a huge explosion in dial-up. Ended up working for CompuServe, and if you look at LinkedIn, that's my cover picture, me sitting at my Windows 95 machine. And we actually used to use Hyperterminal to telnet into one of CompuServe's public IP addresses. Just use a plain text username and password and get access to their database to manage the users' accounts, reset their password, deal with all their billing, etc., resolve their technical problems. And I love that picture because it shows where we started from in a world where we were worried about autoexec.bat files and DLLs and installed, pieces of software on our computer and the dial-up networking control panel in Windows 95 and Windows 98.
Yeah.
And then, transitioned out of that, got into the education market in the UK. And then from that, started to work for an advertising agency in London that grew from, I was the first IT hire in 2010 when it was just 60 people and one office. And we were able to, one reason I took that job, and thankfully one reason I got that job, was because that company was on Google Workspace. This was in 2010, and I'd started to use Google Workspace as it was called back then. It was called Google Apps for Business.
Hmm.
I had my own free Google domain and was very much an early adopter of SaaS-based applications. I've actually got a Google Doc that is going to turn 20 years old this year. It was last edited in October of 2006,
Wow.
when I think it was a Writely doc. So Writely was a browser-based editor that somebody introduced me to for us to collaborate on a project rather than sending text files or Word documents backwards and forwards through email. And Wordly got bought by Google and became Google Docs. So I was a very early adopter of those sort of cloud-based applications. So started working for this advertising agency, helped them expand, moved to the US, and going from the first IT hire, ended up being the VP of IT with 16 colleagues that I managed, IT managers and IT engineers. We got bought by a very large company called WPP, Group M. And then from that transitioned, and now I work for Promevo, which is a Google partner. And they were actually my Google partner that I utilized all through the time that I was at Essence, at this advertising agency, utilizing their tools, gPanel, to manage Google Workspace, etc. So very exciting time, and I'm very sort of proud of that transition that I had, and that growth, and seeing all of the technology change through all of that period.
I mean, that's pretty incredible. You have a 20-year-old Google Doc that was originally not even a Google Doc. And
Yeah.
you transition from working in the Google Workspace, if you will, or Google Apps for Business, and now you're at Promevo, which is a Google partner.
Yeah, yeah, and I able to draw on everything that I learned to help our clients, do that sort of digital transformation, do migrations, deploy mobile device management. There's context-aware access, Chrome Enterprise browsers, or Chrome Enterprise Premium. There's a lot of interest in enterprise browsers. We do a lot of security reviews, so I'm able to draw on all of the experience that I had as a administrator in a growing company, and to help our clients.
And who are your clients?
It's a range. It's a range of financial institutions, healthcare, manufacturing, logistics. All very, very different on the business that they're in, but they have, for the most part, exactly the same challenges. Staff joining and leaving, being able to improve the new hire process, being aware of permission creep within in organizations when people move teams, and their permissions aren't adjusted as they move from one role to another. Um, so yeah, we help them in a whole range, and a lot of what we do at the moment is help them with their agentic workplace transformation, AWT, with the world of AI that it is at the moment. We help a lot of our clients deploy Gemini Enterprise. We do a lot of Gemini for Google Workspace training. There's a lot of end user education, a lot of discussions with our clients about how to transform their operation, because I think this period, as opposed to deploying a piece of software that we would have done in the past, rolling out a new task management platform or another, mobile device management service. This era of AI is really a chance to actually look at how you tackle all of your business processes. So spending a lot of time, speaking to people in business strategy, operations, etc., rather than just the sort of the IT professionals.
Wow, interesting. Okay. Um, you know, are these SMBs, mid-tier companies, enterprise, mix of all the above?
A mix.
Yeah.
There's a number of startups, smaller teams.
Okay.
Lot of the 300 to 600 person organizations that are in some really great industries, and then we have larger organizations with 12,000, 30,000 people, not just being US based, but being global as well. So have had and myself and my colleagues have had a lot of early morning calls to like capture Europe and then India, and then some late night calls as well to catch Australia, and APAC as well. So do the whole breadth of industries and size of companies.
No, I mean, like very interesting. So that's cool. You're definitely exposed to a lot of different. I'm sure you're solving for a lot of different problems then. Um,
Yeah, and this is the part that's very inspiring and engaging in it, and can be really, really exciting, but also quite challenging at the same time. It's being able to correctly sort of be that trusted advisor, consultant to our client, and guide them through this period of understanding everything inside the Google ecosystem. It can be quite confusing in any of the large platforms that you're looking at using. Amazon has a very confusing catalog of cloud-based applications. So does Microsoft. Google and all these other platforms. They're no different, and everything is sort of on the Google side is under that umbrella of Gemini. everything's called Gemini, but there are different parts of it. So it's explaining, how they can choose the best product for, and how it fits for their users and their end users, and then helping them make sure that they've got a good documented process that the AI can be tied into, and they also have sound data as well. The one thing that I've heard in the last couple of years with the expansion of AI is that old term that we had from the 80s and 90s, garbage in, garbage out. If you have a bad prompt or you have bad data, you're going to get a bad response or an incorrect response out. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of hard work is being done in actually understanding, what data the clients have, how it's structured, what business process they want, because AI tools are amazing at what they do, but they're not magic. You can't have a bad process or bad data and expect to throw AI at the problem and get a good result out.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of work, and that's why
Sounds like some
ourselves.
job security for you. A lot of,
Yes, yeah, yeah. There is a growth in the partner network. Obviously Google and a lot of the other companies have done a lot of investment in the partner network. And there is thankfully a healthy amount of work for us to be doing to help our clients grow and make the most out of these new tools. And it is a tool just like anything that has been deployed before.
yeah, exactly. And you're absolutely right. I mean, when it comes to something like what you use Gemini for an example, right? It's about selecting the right tool that's right for you, right? And not only selecting the right tool, but the right prompt and giving it some good data. And you mentioned something in our pre-chat. It's like AI is a clueless genius, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how we've been articulating it to our clients,
Yeah.
the end users when we do the training, and sort of telling them that it's like a very, very skilled PhD level intern has just been, dropped in your team to help you. They have a wealth of knowledge. They have lots and lots of skills, but they have no clue who you are. They don't know anything about your business. So
Or
if you are
processes or anything. Yeah.
yeah, so you have to, like, give them a clear task, give them a clear context of what you're asking them to do. So yeah, we spend a lot of time doing a lot of practical exercises with our clients when we're doing the training of going over the four key areas, which is persona, task, context, and then format. What result do you actually want out of the AI platform? And then it's building on that and going into the agentic world and going away from just sort of the prompt and the response, but actually building out an agent to do things in a repetitive way, and reminding people that they are still responsible for the output of that very clever genius, that clueless genius that's part of their team. They have to be checking the work. So I always think of, and sort of, we talk about AI as being a productivity enhancement tool rather than a productivity replacement tool. It's not there to replace everything. It's there to help you, do your job in a better, more efficient way, and have a better understanding of all of the data that's inside your organization.
That's exactly right. I mean, I couldn't put it better myself. I mean, this is interesting. So, I mean, you've seen multiple different tech waves, right? Like tech revolutions, if you will. And now we're obviously in this AI era now. Do you think this AI era feels a little bigger than others, or you think it's? I'm just curious how you feel about what's your take on it?
Uh, it's certainly faster.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you bought Word, you bought Microsoft Office 2003. you knew you didn't have to upgrade until Office 2007 came out, and then
Mhm.
2013, 2016, etc. There was a set period of design, and you would have a gold image of your operating system. You had crafted a Windows 2000, gold image, and that's what you would be deploying for years to come. I think now with this constant iteration, constant deployment, pipeline that we all have, and with vibe coding, and the speed of things, it's very exciting, but it can be very, very overwhelming because some of these tools are being launched before admins and security professionals, have an opportunity to review them, deploy, evaluate them, choose to deploy them, in a controlled way in their organization. For years, admins have known about shadow AI and have generally avoided it or ignored it as a sort of an accepted risk. Now with shadow AI and automated tools, we've seen all of the headlines in the newspaper or the tech press about companies and admins or excuse me, end users installing OpenClaw or another platform, and then the AI deletes their whole database or deletes everything that's on their laptop because it doesn't see it as being valuable. I think shadow AI can't be avoided at all. We do need, admins do need to be more strict on the end user access, and that's why some of sort of having a more managed operating system, something like Chrome OS, where there aren't it's not a right operating system. It's very secure and protected, or using an enterprise browser are the sort of security tools that a lot of admins and CISOs are taking up to sort of tighten down, because we have to, all of those attack vectors and opportunities for damage to be done, often in a not in a malicious way, but in an experimental way that end users are trying to make the best use of these tools. It can actually have some very negative consequences.
Yeah, no, I mean that's interesting. Now let's just say you had a magic wand and you could fix one thing right now. Uh, I'm very curious to hear your take. Given everything that's it's implementing different AI. What's your take on with
If
that?
I could fix one thing, that's a great question and a very, very large one.
It's a little bit of a loaded question, but uh,
Yeah, one thing I would love admins to do is they all adhere to least privilege. Yeah, you only get the rights to your account. Your account only has the rights that it should have to do your job.
mhm,
I strongly feel that we should have least privilege when it comes to devices. So a lot of companies by default deploy a Mac or a Windows machine when the user only needs to open a Google Doc or can work solely in the browser, even if they're using, the Microsoft suite.
mhm.
Um, that's the one thing I would love administrators and corporations to do more, is apply the principle of least privilege to hardware devices as well. Then we wouldn't have had, the incident in, was it last July or the July before, when CrowdStrike had an issue and 6 million Windows devices were bricked. If
Mhm.
you're running a display or a terminal that does one task, it doesn't need to be running a full operating system. So that's the magic wand I would love to be able to wave and get people to do. And then the other magic wand, I'd love to get rid of attachments. Email attachments should not be a thing. We should all be working in online browser-based documents.
Using Google Drive links.
Yeah, yeah, Google Drive links. I'll even promote people using Microsoft Office links and Microsoft, tools in a browser as well. I do think we need to get away from the concept of physically installed applications and adopt the browser-based technologies even more.
I mean, I think it only makes sense, especially since, I mean, I don't know, how many times have you tried to send an email attachment and it's too big?
Yeah, yeah, I never do
I know you
because
don't send them anymore, but
all of all of my a slide document, Google Slide. It doesn't matter how big it is because I'm just giving them the link and giving them permissions to access that file.
yep.
That's what I would love to see the end of as well.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. No, I think that makes perfect sense. Um, I mean, do you think this AI adoption, do you think it's more of like a human challenge? Is this a technology driven challenge, or what do you think the challenge is here with this AI stuff coming in right now? Because I mean, you're doing a lot of implementation, it sounds like, and a lot of education, and
yeah. So I think it will personally, this is my own personal opinions and thoughts on the subject. I do think it will level out and be more consistent in deployment and development. We can't have data centers everywhere.
right.
Because that's becoming an environmental issue and problems for communities where they're being sprung up. So I do, and also we can't have every single job in the world being automated because we're on an ecosystem where we have to be working to buy. We're a consumer ecosystem
Exactly.
where we have to be working to be buying stuff then because companies are buying employing people that sell or produce those things, so we can't, all of our jobs can't be automated, so I think it will sort of level itself out where we're utilizing these tools. We'll become a lot more efficient. We are going to get better customer service. That's what I'm very happy with. With those tools that are, placed into large corporations that you end up having to phone into. I wish I had it back in 1997 when I was doing telephone support, to have an AI assistant being able to listen into my call and give me guidance and advice on solving a technical problem, or being able to analyze somebody else's account and diagnose what's wrong with it. That would be very helpful. And I think the companies that deploy technologies like that are going to have a better reputation. They'll end up getting, keeping and retaining more clients and customers, and would be very, very successful. And I also think, in science and the medical field, it can help us as well. But I was listening to the Hard Fork podcast this week, where they were talking about how AI is being used in healthcare, and there was an example of a dentist that was using AI, and it completely misdiagnosed, cavities that the patient had. So again, we need to have the human in the loop. It is a tool, but we still need to be the one that's, driving the car. So to use that analogy. And yes, I know we have autonomous vehicles, but we still need to be, making these decisions, reviewing stuff. It is there to help us, not to replace everything.
Yeah, I mean, there you have it. I mean, it's not a human replacement, it may be human enhancement.
Yeah, yeah. The best analogy that one of our clients said to his colleagues that was on a call when we were training them how to use Gemini inside Google Workspace, he was like, team, I'm still going to expect you to run a marathon. I'm just giving you roller skates.
Yeah,
We're not replacing you. We're not taking away your work. We're just making it easier to do your work.
right.
And the other sort of, the little tagline I have is like, we no longer have to spend 8 hours building a slide deck or a PowerPoint presentation. Now
Mhm.
we spend 1 hour building a slide deck, and we spend 7 hours really knowing the data and the messaging behind that slide deck that we're going to be presenting. So that when we come to do that, a very important client presentation, we're not reading off of the notes, and we're not just regurgitating what's on the slide. We actually truly know it. We know the industry. We know our clients. That's where I think the savings are coming from. We're just changing where the work is being done and how we're utilizing, our knowledge as true knowledge workers.
Well, exactly. It gives you the bandwidth to work on what you actually should be working on versus a task that is essentially maybe remedial in nature and just takes very time consuming. And that's exactly right. It makes us better because we can focus on what's
Yep.
important. And for other people, working at different organizations, maybe it's filling out a report that can easily be automated, so you can actually tend to your daily tasks. I mean, this is what it's for, and I completely agree with your sentiment on that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, this has been awesome, Colin. I think we could keep chatting, but
Good.
why don't we share with our guests where can they find you?
LinkedIn is probably the best place
Okay.
to find me. I try to be quite active on there, commenting on other people's posts, posting some interesting stuff.
Cool.
I do use a gem, a Google Gemini gem to help me revise some of my posts.
Nice.
But most of them are written by me. I do use the tools to like make
Yep.
dynamic videos and images, because it's all about catching eyeballs, but
Yep.
like sharing the message of how they can utilize AI tools.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, likewise, great chatting with you, Alex.
Thanks.